Trade between China and Russia hits an all-time high. Container by container, barrel by barrel, their economic ties deepen. But just as this alliance solidifies, a shockwave hits from across the ocean. Former U.S. President Donald Trump threatens a massive 25% tariff, not on Russia directly, but on those who dare to buy from it. India's already hit. China may be next. This isn't just about economics. This is a war of influence, a battle of survival, and the opening chapter in a new era of confrontation. July 2025, in Moscow, news headlines quietly announce a new milestone. China-Russia trade has surged 7% month over month, reaching its highest point this year. In Beijing, state-run analysts nod knowingly. Cargo trains roll across the Manjuli border, while oil tankers offload Russian crude at Shandong ports. The world is watching, but few understand the deeper game. This isn't just commerce, it's geopolitical resistance. In a post-sanctions world, Moscow has doubled down on it. Eastward pivot. Europe may have closed its doors, but China has opened a side gate. The Kremlin calls it a strategic decoupling from the West. Beijing calls it energy security. But beneath the labels lies a deeper truth. The East is building its own fortress. The data confirms it. July's trade value surged, driven largely by Chinese imports of discounted Russian oil, grain, and military-grade raw materials. In return, China sends electronics, construction machinery, and critically, dual-use technology. This isn't just barter, it's alignment. And now, the Western response is emerging. From Washington, D.C., the warning comes sharp and clear. Trump, campaigning for a powerful return in 2025, issues a threat: 25% tariffs for any country that fuels the Russian war engine. But here's the question: can trade survive when it's treated like a weapon? Or is this the start of a new Cold War where every deal, every ship, every handshake has consequences? Donald J. Trump, never one to pull punches, has redrawn the lines of economic diplomacy once again. Speaking at a campaign rally in Ohio, Trump didn't just criticize Russia. He targeted those who do business with Russia, specifically oil buyers. If you fund Moscow's aggression, he declared, you will pay the price. And with that, he unleashed the idea of a sweeping 25% tariff on Russian oil imports. Not on Russia, but on those who dare to trade with it. India, once seen as a neutral energy partner, had already felt the sting. U.S. tariffs on Indian imported Russian oil doubled to 50%, shocking Delhi and signaling a sharp shift in American tactics. Now, all eyes are on China. Would the world's second largest economy blink under pressure, or would it double down? Tariffs have become missiles, non-lethal but devastating. They don't destroy tanks, but they cripple budgets. And in the halls of Beijing's Zhongnan High, economists and generals alike are doing the math. Can China afford to yield? Can it afford to defy? Trump's move is bold, but calculated. It's not just about punishing trade, it's about isolating Russia from the global energy ecosystem. But more than that, it's a test of loyalty, a test of nerves, and for Russia, it's a potential turning point. What happens when your allies are punished for standing by you? What happens when economic bullets fly just as fast as the real ones? Will the world bend under pressure or fight back with new alliances? Beijing didn't issue a fiery response to Trump's threat. That's not their style. Instead, China let its actions speak louder than its diplomats. In the weeks following the tariff announcement, Chinese state refineries increased purchases of Russian crude, not decreased. Tanker tracking data showed a 12% uptick in shipments to key ports. In short, China not only ignored the threat, it accelerated the relationship. The message was clear: we don't bow to economic intimidation. China's foreign ministry spokesperson issued a cool, calculated statement: we reject unilateral coercion. Energy security is a sovereign matter. And that's where the deeper game lies. China isn't just helping Russia, it's hedging against future American dominance. Every deal signed, every ship unloaded, is a quiet vote against U.S. hegemony. But make no mistake, this isn't about ideology. It's about leverage. By locking in long-term energy contracts with Moscow, China gets a strategic discount and positions itself as a broker between West and East. It's a move worthy of a chess master. Control the board without ever moving your queen. And Russia, it sees China as the last major economic artery. In a world closing in, but alliances built under pressure are fragile. What happens if U.S. sanctions start biting Chinese banks? If oil transport routes are sanctioned? If Europe demands the same compliance? Is China's defiance sustainable, or is it a high-stakes gamble in a game that's still unfolding? Zoom out. This is bigger than China, bigger than Russia. This is about the future of global order. In the shadow of Ukraine and under the threat of expanding war, the world is fracturing. Not into East vs. West, but into zones of influence and defiance. Sanctions here, tariffs there. Loopholes everywhere. Europe watches nervously. While publicly aligning with Washington's strategy, behind closed doors, energy executives whisper about supply shocks. Can Russian oil really be replaced? Can Chinese machinery be fully banned? Or are we spiraling into a world where everyone is both enemy and partner? And what of the global South? Nations like Brazil, South Africa, and Indonesia. Are they willing to pick sides in an economic world war? This new Cold War doesn't have walls or Berlin airlifts. It has export bans, tech sanctions, financial blacklists. And for Russia, the pressure is both crushing and clarifying. Its reliance on China has never been greater, but so has its vulnerability. One banking freeze from Beijing could throttle its economy. But for now, the alliance holds and deepens. Meanwhile, the U.S. sets deadlines, issue ultimatums, and the world holds its breath. In this fractured world, who writes the rules? The nation with the loudest voice, or the one with the last ship still sailing? Inside Russia, the state narrative is clear. We are encircled, but never broken. Targeted, but never silenced. Isolated, but never alone. The Kremlin frames this not as an economic challenge, but a spiritual one, a test of endurance, a test of sovereignty, and for many ordinary Russians, that message resonates. Russian state media frames the tariffs as proof of success. If they fear our trade, it means we are winning. And for a country that endured years of Western sanctions, a few more tariffs are hardly a surprise. In schools, military ceremonies, and public broadcasts, the narrative of resistance is everywhere. Russia is no longer chasing Western approval. It's chasing legacy and perhaps survival. The government pushes deeper into self-reliance, boosting domestic industry, reshaping supply chains, and strengthening ties with other non-aligned nations. Military analysts warn of new NATO buildups, but in Moscow, officials quietly build economic fortresses just as urgently as they build bunkers. The war in Ukraine may have started with tanks, but the next battle may be fought in spreadsheets, oil barrels, and shipping manifests. And for Russian patriots, this is the call to endure, not just to fight on the battlefield, but to adapt in the marketplace, to outlast pressure. Write a new chapter of independence, because in the end, wars are not just won by missiles, they are won by will. This is more than a trade dispute. It's a test of alliances, a shift in global balance, and a war fought with numbers, contracts, and nerves. Russia and China have made their move, the West has answered, the battlefield is wide, and it's only getting wider. Who will win in this new world of power games and tariff warfare? The nation with stronger weapons or the one with stronger resolve? If you want more frontline geopolitical dispatches, Subscribe, stay alert, and prepare for the next move in the great game of our era.